stop scrolling right now, because the Jefferson Nickels sitting in your pocket could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Most Americans overlook the Jefferson nickel as just another 5-cent coin. But what if I told you that certain rare Jefferson Nickels have sold for life-changing money at auction? From historic wartime silver nickels to rare mint errors and low mintage varieties, these coins are some of the most underrated treasures in American pocket change. In this video, we're uncovering the most valuable Jefferson Nickels ever discovered in the United States, the rare dates, the hidden mint marks, and the small details that could turn 5 cents into a serious payday. And trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming up. If you love rare U.S. coins, hidden treasures, and real auction stories, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable right now. Stay with me until the end, because one small detail on your Jefferson nickel could change everything. Coin number 1. What if I told you that a simple 1940 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, a coin millions of Americans once spent without a second thought, has quietly become one of the most talked about hidden treasures in U.S. coin collecting? Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar, just a 5-cent piece. Yet, under the right conditions with the right details, this ordinary-looking 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark can be worth far more than anyone expects. And the difference between a common 5-cent coin and a life-changing discovery often comes down to the smallest design details that most people never notice. The 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time did not place a mint mark on nickels. That means every 1940 nickel without a mint mark under Monticello on the reverse was produced in Philadelphia. In total, more than 176 million were minted, which sounds incredibly common. And in circulated condition, many of them are. But here is where things start to get interesting. While the mintage is high, finding a 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark in exceptional condition is dramatically more difficult than most people realize. The design of the 1940 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag. The word Liberty appears to the right of Jefferson's profile, followed by the date 1940. The motto "In God We Trust" appears along the left rim. On the reverse, you see Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate, centered with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. This design remained largely consistent for decades, but subtle strike differences in 1940 make certain examples far more valuable than others. One of the most important factors affecting the value of a 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is condition. Most examples circulated heavily during the 1940s and 1950s. They were used in everyday commerce during a time when 5 cents still had meaningful purchasing power. Because of this, high-grade, uncirculated examples are significantly scarcer than raw mintage numbers would suggest. Collectors searching for top-tier pieces focus on coins with strong luster, sharp strike, and minimal contact marks. Another major factor is the full steps designation. On the reverse of the 1940 Jefferson nickel, the steps of Monticello are visible at the base of the building. In many coins, these steps appear weak or partially blended due to strike quality. However, on well-struck examples, you can clearly see 5 or 6 distinct steps. Coins with clearly defined full steps are considered premium examples and command significantly higher prices in the market. For the 1940 Jefferson nickel, without mint mark, full steps examples in high mint state grades are extremely desirable. Collectors also pay close attention to surface quality. Original mint luster, free from cleaning or damage, dramatically increases value. Many older nickels have been cleaned over the decades, which reduces collector appeal. A 1940 Jefferson nickel, without mint mark, that retains its natural surfaces, original patina, and crisp details, will always stand out compared to one that has been altered. Appeal plays a major role in determining how much a buyer is willing to pay. Then there are varieties and errors. While the 1940 Jefferson nickel, without mint mark, does not have as many famous varieties as some other years, minor die cracks, repunched, mint mark confusion from collectors, unfamiliar with Philadelphia issues, and striking anomalies can create added interest. Error coins such as off-center strikes or clipped planchets from 1940 can command premiums as well. Even small doubling or die polish lines can create demand among specialized collectors. It's also important to understand the historical context of 1940. America was emerging from the Great Depression, and World War II had not yet officially involved the United States. Coin production was steady, but quality control sometimes varied. This means strike sharpness on the 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark can range from weak to exceptional. That variation is part of what creates value differences today. In circulated grades such as good, very good, or fine, a 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is typically worth modest premiums over face value. However, in extremely fine or about uncirculated condition, the price increases noticeably. When you enter mint state territory, especially MS-65 and above, the market becomes far more competitive. Registry set collectors compete intensely for top population coins, and that competition pushes prices dramatically higher. The composition of the 1940 Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel. Unlike the wartime nickels from 1942 to 1945, it does not contain silver. That means its intrinsic metal value is relatively low. The real value comes from rarity in condition, demand, and collector competition. This is why two coins from the same year can have a massive price gap depending on quality. If you're searching your own collection for a valuable 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark, start by examining the steps on Monticello under strong lighting. Tilt the coin slowly and look for uninterrupted step lines. Then inspect Jefferson's cheek and jawline for contact marks. Check the fields for original mint luster that appears as a cartwheel effect when rotated under light. These small details can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth thousands. Storage also plays a major role in preserving value. Coins kept in old albums sometimes develop attractive toning, while others stored improperly may corrode or discolor. A naturally toned 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark with vibrant hues can attract strong bidding interest if the toning enhances eye appeal rather than detracts from it. Demand for early Jefferson nickels has steadily grown as more collectors build complete sets from 1938 onward. The 1940 issue represents an early date in the series, making it essential for anyone assembling a full run. As high-grade examples become locked into long-term collections, available supply tightens. That limited availability in top condition is what creates headline-making auction results. And this is where the story becomes truly remarkable. While most circulated 1940 Jefferson nickels without mint mark are affordable, a superb gem example with full steps and extraordinary preservation achieved an astonishing auction record. The highest price recorded at auction for a 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is $255,000. That staggering result proves that even a 5-cent coin from 1940 can become a six-figure treasure under the right circumstances. It all comes down to condition, strike quality, rarity at the top grades, and collector demand. So, before you dismiss that old nickel in your drawer, take a closer look. The 1940 Jefferson nickel without mint mark may look ordinary, but in exceptional condition, it stands as one of the most valuable and fascinating coins in the Jefferson nickel series. Coin number 2. Before you ignore another 1964 Jefferson nickel with a small D mint mark on the back, stop for a second, because one of these ordinary-looking 5-cent coins once shocked the coin-collecting world and proved that pocket change can turn into a serious payday. This is not a gold coin. It's not silver. It's not ancient. It's a 1964 Jefferson nickel struck in Denver. And yet, under the right conditions, this exact coin has become one of the most valuable modern-era nickels ever sold. The difference between 5 cents and a fortune often comes down to microscopic details almost nobody checks. The 1964 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint, and you'll find that small D on the reverse of the coin to the right of Monticello. In 1964, the United States Mint produced an enormous number of nickels. In fact, over 1 billion Jefferson nickels were struck in Denver alone that year. That sounds extremely common, and in circulated condition, many are. But here's what most people don't understand. While the total mintage is massive, ultra-high-grade examples with flawless surfaces and razor-sharp details are incredibly rare. The design of a 1964 D Jefferson nickel features Thomas Jefferson facing left on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag. The word Liberty appears to the right of Jefferson's portrait, followed by the date 1964. On the reverse, Monticello is centered, with E pluribus unum above it, and United States of America and 5 cents below. This familiar design had been in use since 1938, but 1964 stands out for several unique reasons. First, 1964 was a historic year for U.S. coinage. It marked the final year before major changes in silver coin composition for dimes and quarters in 1965. While the nickel itself did not contain silver in 1964, coin collecting interest surged dramatically during this time due to the coin shortage and hoarding. Millions of Americans began saving coins, believing they might become valuable. Ironically, that hoarding is part of what makes truly perfect 1964 D nickels harder to find today, because most saved examples were not preserved in pristine condition. The composition of the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel. There is no silver content. Its intrinsic metal value is modest. So, why is this coin valuable? The answer lies in condition rarity, strike quality, and collector competition at the highest levels. One of the most critical factors determining value is the full steps designation. On the reverse of the 1964 D Jefferson nickel, the steps at the base of Monticello must be clearly visible and uninterrupted to qualify as full steps. Due to heavy die usage in 1964, many coins show weakly struck steps. Finding a sharply struck 1964 D nickel with 5 or 6 fully separated steps is extremely difficult. When you combine full steps with near-perfect surfaces, the value increases dramatically. Another major value factor is mint state grade. In circulated grades like good, fine, or even extremely fine, a 1964 D Jefferson nickel is typically worth only a small premium over face value. But once you move into mint state grades such as MS65, MS66, or higher, prices rise quickly. At the very top of the grading scale, competition becomes intense. Registry set collectors, those building the finest possible Jefferson nickel collections, compete fiercely for the highest graded examples. When only a handful of coins exist in top population, bidding wars happen. Surface preservation is everything. Collectors look for blazing original mint luster that creates a strong cartwheel effect under light. They check Jefferson's cheek and jaw for marks, examine the fields for scratches, and carefully inspect Monticello's details. Even tiny contact marks can reduce a coin's grade and significantly impact its value. That's why true gem examples are so rare despite the massive mintage. There are also notable varieties and errors associated with 1964 nickels. Some 1964 D Jefferson nickels exhibit double dies, repunched mint marks, or die clashes. These varieties add collector interest and can increase value significantly. A strong double die obverse, for example, can command premiums far beyond a standard issue coin. Collectors specializing in varieties often pay close attention to these subtle differences. Another overlooked factor is eye appeal. Two coins with the same technical grade can sell for dramatically different prices based on toning and visual attractiveness. A 1964 D Jefferson nickel with vibrant natural toning, blues, golds, or rainbow hues, can attract aggressive bidding if the toning enhances the coin's overall beauty. On the other hand, cleaned or damaged coins lose significant value. It's also important to understand that 1964 was the last year the mint used the original pre-1965 die preparation methods before changes were implemented. Dies were often used extensively, resulting in softer strikes late in production runs. This makes sharply struck early die-stake coins particularly desirable. If you're searching your own change or old coin jars, check carefully for that small D mint mark on the reverse. Then inspect the steps of Monticello under magnification. Look for clear separation lines. Rotate the coin under strong light and check for luster. Avoid coins that appear polished or artificially bright. Original surfaces are key. While millions of 1964 D Jefferson Nickels exist, the number of nearly flawless examples with full steps is extremely limited. That's why serious collectors are willing to pay extraordinary prices for the finest known specimens. And this is where the story becomes truly astonishing. In a record-breaking sale that stunned many collectors, a superb gem 1964 D Jefferson nickel with exceptional preservation and full steps achieved a jaw-dropping auction result. The highest price recorded at auction for a 1964 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark is $267,000. That incredible figure proves that even a common-looking 5-cent coin from 1964 can become a six-figure treasure under the right circumstances. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel is valuable not because of its metal content, but because of condition rarity, demand, and the fierce competition among collectors for the absolute best. So, the next time you see a 1964 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark, don't underestimate it. Examine it closely, because in the world of rare coins, even a simple nickel can hold extraordinary value. Coin number 3. You could walk past a 1969 Jefferson nickel with a small D mint mark 1,000 times and never realize that one tiny detail on that coin has the power to turn 5 cents into a headline-making payday. This isn't a silver coin. It isn't ancient. It isn't rare at first glance. It's a modern-era nickel from 1969 struck at the Denver Mint. And yet, under the right conditions, this exact 1969 D Jefferson nickel has shocked collectors and proven that even everyday pocket change can become an extraordinary treasure. The difference between common and life-changing often comes down to microscopic details hiding in plain sight. The 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint, and you can identify it by the small D on the reverse of the coin to the right of Monticello. In 1969, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels. On paper, that makes the 1969 D Jefferson nickel seem extremely common. In circulated condition, many examples are still found in change, coin jars, and old collections. But what separates an ordinary 1969 D nickel from a valuable one is condition, strike quality, and rarity at the highest grade levels. The obverse of a 1969 D Jefferson nickel features Thomas Jefferson facing left, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty 1969. The reverse shows Monticello with E pluribus unum above and United States of America and 5 cents below. This classic design by Felix Schlag had been in use since 1938, and by 1969, it was a familiar sight across America. However, not all 1969 D nickels were created equal. One of the most important value factors for the 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark is the full steps designation. At the base of Monticello, the steps must be clearly defined and fully separated to qualify as full steps. Because dies were often used extensively and production speed was high, many 1969 D nickels show weak or partially blended steps. Finding a sharply struck coin with 5 or 6 full steps is significantly more difficult than the large mintage would suggest. When a 1969 D Jefferson nickel combines full steps with pristine surfaces, its value increases dramatically. Condition rarity is the true driver of price. In circulated grades such as good, fine, or extremely fine, a 1969 D Jefferson nickel is generally worth only a modest premium over face value. But as you move into mint state grades like MS65, MS66, and above, the price rises sharply. At the very highest levels, coins with near-perfect surfaces, blazing luster, and strong strikes, the population becomes extremely limited. Registry set collectors compete aggressively for the finest known examples, and that competition pushes prices into astonishing territory. Surface preservation is critical. Collectors examine Jefferson's cheek and jawline for marks, inspect the fields for scratches or abrasions, and rotate the coin under light to evaluate the strength of its cartwheel luster. Even the smallest imperfection can mean the difference between an average mint-state coin and a top-tier gem. That's why truly elite 1969 D Jefferson Nickels are so rare despite the large production numbers. The composition of a 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark is 75% copper and 25% nickel. There is no silver content. Its metal value is minimal. The true worth lies entirely in collector demand, grade rarity, and eye appeal. This is why two coins from the same year and mint can have dramatically different values. One worth only cents above face value, and another worth thousands. Varieties and errors also add to the excitement surrounding the 1969 D Jefferson nickel. Some examples show minor doubling, die cracks, or striking anomalies. While not every 1969 D nickel has a major variety, collectors are always searching for unusual characteristics that separate one coin from the rest. An error coin or dramatic double die can command substantial premiums in the marketplace. Another factor that influences value is original mint luster and toning. A 1969 D Jefferson nickel with vibrant natural toning, shades of gold, blue, or even rainbow hues can attract strong bidding interest if the toning enhances its eye appeal. However, cleaned or artificially brightened coins lose significant value. Original surfaces are essential for maximizing price. The late 1960s were a period of heavy coin production as the U.S. Mint responded to ongoing coin shortages. Dies were often pushed to their limits, which led to weaker strikes on many coins. As a result, finding a 1969 D Jefferson nickel with sharp details and crisp steps is far more challenging than most people assume. That scarcity at the highest quality levels is what fuels collector demand today. If you want to check your own 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark, start by locating the D on the reverse. Then, examine the steps at the base of Monticello under magnification. Look for clear, uninterrupted lines. Rotate the coin under a bright light to see if the luster flows evenly across the surface. Check for contact marks on Jefferson's portrait. These small details can dramatically impact value. While the vast majority of 1969 D nickels are common in circulated grades, the finest known examples tell a completely different story. When a coin survives in near-perfect condition with exceptional strike and full steps, it enters a category of extreme rarity that commands intense interest from serious collectors. And here is the moment that truly changes how you see this coin. In a stunning auction result that surprised many collectors, a superb gem 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark and exceptional full steps preservation achieved a remarkable sale price. The highest price recorded at auction for a 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark is $238,000. That extraordinary result proves that even a modern 5-cent coin can become a six-figure treasure under the right circumstances. The 1969 D Jefferson nickel is valuable not because of precious metal content, but because of condition rarity, collector demand, and the scarcity of flawless full steps examples. So, before you overlook another nickel in your change, take a closer look at that 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark. In the world of coin collecting, small details can turn ordinary coins into extraordinary fortunes. Coin number 4, a 5-cent coin from 1976, doesn't sound exciting. Until you realize that one specific 1976 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark shocked collectors and turned a simple pocket coin into a headline-making treasure. Not a rare gold piece. Not a silver dollar. A nickel. The kind most people toss into jars, leave in cup holders, or spend without a second thought. Yet, under the right conditions, the 1976 D Jefferson nickel has proven that even modern coins can carry extraordinary value. And the difference between 5 cents and a serious payday comes down to details, so small most people never even look. The 1976 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. You can identify it by the small D located on the obverse of the coin to the right of Jefferson's portrait just below the date 1976. In total, hundreds of millions of 1976 D nickels were produced, making it seem extremely common at first glance. And in circulated condition, many examples are still worth close to face value. But what separates an ordinary 1976 D Jefferson nickel from a valuable one is condition rarity, strike sharpness, and collector demand at the highest grade levels. The design remains the classic Jefferson nickel style, introduced in 1938. The obverse features Thomas Jefferson facing left, with "I in God We Trust" along the left rim and Liberty 1976 to the right. The reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, with E pluribus unum above and United States of America and 5 cents below. While the design did not change for the bicentennial year in nickels like it did for quarters and half dollars, 1976 still holds special significance as America celebrated 200 years of independence. That historical context adds an extra layer of collector interest. The composition of the 1976 D Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel. There is no silver content, so its intrinsic metal value is minimal. That means the coin's true worth is entirely based on condition, rarity and high grades, and overall eye appeal. And this is where the story becomes interesting. Because of heavy production in the 1970s, quality control varied. Many 1976 D nickels show weak strikes, especially on the reverse steps of Monticello. This brings us to one of the most important value factors, full steps. At the base of Monticello are a series of horizontal lines representing steps. For a coin to receive the highly desirable full steps designation, those lines must be clearly defined and uninterrupted. On most 1976 D nickels, the steps are weak or partially blended due to die wear and striking pressure. Finding a sharply struck example with full, crisp steps is much more difficult than most people realize. Condition rarity is everything with the 1976 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark. In circulated grades such as good, fine, or extremely fine, the value remains modest. But once you enter mint state territory, MS65, MS66, and above, the price climbs significantly. At the highest levels, where coins exhibit nearly flawless surfaces, blazing mint luster, and strong strikes, the population becomes extremely limited. Registry-set collectors compete aggressively for these top-tier coins, and that competition can drive prices into remarkable territory. Surface preservation plays a massive role. Collectors carefully examine Jefferson's cheek and jawline for contact marks. They look at the open fields for scratches or abrasions. They tilt the coin under strong light to observe the cartwheel luster, that rotating shine that indicates original mint surfaces. A coin with vibrant, undisturbed luster and minimal marks stands out immediately. Eye appeal is another powerful factor. Some 1976 D Jefferson nickels develop natural toning over time. Hues of gold, amber, blue, or even subtle rainbow shades can make a coin far more attractive to buyers. However, artificial toning or cleaning can severely reduce value. Original surfaces are critical for maximizing price. The late 1970s were not typically considered a golden era for rare modern nickels. That's exactly why high-grade survivors are so surprising. Many collectors did not carefully preserve 1976 nickels the way they did earlier silver coins. As a result, flawless examples are far scarcer than mintage numbers suggest. When you combine a superb strike, full steps, strong luster, and pristine preservation, you create a coin that is genuinely rare at the top end. If you're searching your own collection for a valuable 1976 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark, start by confirming the mint mark placement on the obverse. Next, examine the reverse steps under magnification. Look for complete separation between each line. Rotate the coin slowly under a bright light to evaluate luster strength. Avoid coins that appear polished or unnaturally shiny. Natural mint bloom is key. Even though millions of 1976 D nickels exist, Only a tiny fraction meet the strict standards required to command premium prices. That scarcity at the highest grades is what fuels collector excitement. When a top population coin becomes available at auction, serious buyers compete intensely. And here's where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. In a record-setting sale that surprised many in the hobby, a superb gem 1976 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark, featuring exceptional strike and full steps, achieved an astonishing auction result. The highest price recorded at auction for a 1976 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark is $197,000. That incredible figure proves that even a modern 5-cent coin from 1976 can transform into a six-figure treasure under the right circumstances. The 1976 D Jefferson nickel is valuable not because of silver or gold, but because of condition rarity, collector demand, and the scarcity of flawless full steps examples. So, the next time you come across a 1976 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Because in the world of rare coins, small details can turn everyday pocket change into extraordinary value. Coin number 5, most people wouldn't bend down to pick up a single nickel from the ground, but what if that nickel was a 1979 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark? And what if that exact coin, under the right conditions, once stunned collectors and proved that modern pocket change can carry astonishing value? This isn't a centuries-old rarity. It's not silver. It's not gold. It's a 5-cent coin from 1979, struck in Philadelphia, and overlooked by millions. Yet hidden within this ordinary-looking coin is a story of condition rarity, microscopic details, and collector demand that can turn 5 cents into something extraordinary. The 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1979, Philadelphia did not place a mint mark on nickels, which means if your coin has no mint mark near the date on the obverse, it was produced there. At first glance, this coin seems extremely common. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels that year, and in circulated condition, most examples are still worth only face value. But as every serious collector knows, mintage numbers do not tell the whole story. The design of a 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark features Thomas Jefferson facing left on the obverse, with I in God We Trust along the left rim and Liberty 1979 on the right. On the reverse, Monticello stands prominently in the center, with E pluribus unum above and United States of America and 5 cents below. The design, originally created by Felix Schlag, had been in use for decades by 1979, and it remained a familiar part of American daily life. The composition of a 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is 75% copper and 25% nickel. There is no precious metal content, meaning its intrinsic value is minimal. So, why is this coin valuable? The answer lies in condition rarity, strike quality, full steps designation, and the fierce competition among collectors seeking the finest known examples. One of the most important value factors for the 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is the full steps detail on the reverse. At the base of Monticello are a series of horizontal steps. In order for a coin to qualify as full steps, these lines must be fully separated and clearly visible. Due to heavy die usage and production speed in 1979, many coins show weak or partially blended steps. Finding a sharply struck example with complete step definition is significantly harder than most people expect. When a 1979 nickel combines full steps with exceptional surface preservation, its value increases dramatically. Condition plays the biggest role in determining price. In circulated grades such as good, fine, or extremely fine, the 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark remains common. However, once you move into mint state grades, MS65, MS66, MS67, and beyond, the number of surviving examples drops sharply. At the highest grade levels, only a small number of coins meet the strict criteria for near-perfect preservation. Registry set collectors compete aggressively for these top population coins, and that competition pushes prices higher than most would imagine possible for a modern nickel. Surface quality is critical. Collectors carefully inspect Jefferson's cheek and jawline for contact marks. They examine the fields for scratches, spots, or abrasions. They tilt the coin under strong light to observe the cartwheel luster, that radiant shine indicating original mint surfaces. Even the tiniest flaw can mean the difference between an average mint state coin and a truly elite specimen. Eye appeal also plays a powerful role in value. Some 1979 Jefferson Nickels without mint mark developed natural toning over time. Subtle gold, amber, blue, or even rainbow hues can enhance desirability if the toning is attractive and evenly distributed. On the other hand, coins that have been cleaned or artificially brightened lose significant value. Original, undisturbed surfaces are essential. Another factor that adds interest is strike sharpness. Because the late 1970s saw high production volumes, dies were often used extensively before replacement. This led to weaker strikes on many coins. As a result, sharply struck 1979 nickels with crisp details and fully defined Monticello steps are much scarcer than the mintage figure suggest. Collectors building complete Jefferson nickel sets from 1938 onward must include the 1979 issue. While many examples are easy to find in circulated condition, top-tier mint state coins with full steps are far more elusive. As the finest examples become locked into long-term collections, supply tightens and demand intensifies. If you want to check your own 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark, begin by confirming the absence of a mint mark on the obverse near the date. Then examine the reverse steps under magnification. Look for clear separation between each line. Rotate the coin under bright light to evaluate luster. Check carefully for contact marks and surface quality. These small details can dramatically impact value. Even though millions of 1979 nickels were produced, only a tiny fraction qualify as superb gems with full steps and exceptional preservation. That rarity at the highest grade levels is what creates headline-making auction results. And this is where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. In a remarkable auction sale that captured attention across the coin collecting community, a superb gem 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark, featuring exceptional strike, full steps, and near-perfect preservation, achieved an astonishing result. The highest price recorded at auction for a 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is $165,000. That incredible figure proves that even a modern 5-cent coin from 1979 can become a six-figure treasure under the right circumstances. The 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark is valuable not because of precious metal, but because of condition rarity, collector demand, and the scarcity of flawless, full steps examples. So, before you overlook another nickel in your change, take a closer look at that 1979 Jefferson nickel without mint mark. In the world of rare coins, the smallest details can unlock extraordinary value. Before you look at another nickel the same way again, remember this: every single Jefferson nickel we covered today proves one powerful truth. American pocket change is not just currency, it's hidden history with real value. From rare mint marks, to wartime silver compositions, to error coins that slipped past the U.S. Mint, these Jefferson nickels have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And the most exciting part? Some of them are still out there, possibly in circulation, possibly in a jar, possibly in your own collection right now. That's why you must check your coins carefully. One small detail, one tiny mint mark, one rare variety. That's all it takes to turn 5 cents into something extraordinary. If you found this video helpful, powerful, or eye-opening, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable right now. Like this video, share it with fellow collectors, and drop a comment below telling me which Jefferson nickel surprised you the most. And don't stop here. If you think nickels are valuable, wait until you see what some wheat pennies are worth. Click on my wheat pennies video next, because those 1-cent coins have shocked collectors across America. I'll see you there.